Real quick, the only ask I could ever have of you guys is to help spread the word so we can help more women lose body fat, build muscle, reach their goals, and feel insanely confident. And the only way we can do that is if you rate, review, and share this podcast. So the single thing I ask for you to do is if you could leave a review. It will take you 10 seconds and it will mean the absolute world to me and may change the world of someone else. It totally can be done, you guys. It's just about taking control of the situation, taking ownership of the situation, taking responsibility of trying to figure it out to make it work for you. It can work for anybody. It's just about your unique circumstance and making it work for you. Hey, what is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the Macro Hour, or if this is one of your first episodes, welcome to the show with Nikki Stott, co-founder of WarriorBabe. And on this podcast, we talk about mindset, methodologies, and tactics that will help you lose body fat, build muscle, be strong, and feel insanely confident. I am your host, Nikki Stott, and welcome to today's episode 176. And today is a special one, you guys. We're finally going to celebrate together in a unique fashion the fact that this podcast has hit 500,000 downloads in just 1.5 years since birth. So I started this podcast back in January of 2023, and we've done 175 episodes so far, this one being 176. And just about maybe like a month and a half, 2 months ago, we hit the 500,000 downloads. And I think that's so freaking cool. And I just want to say like a big thank you to you guys that listen to this podcast and that share this podcast to others. But I think most importantly, and that's what we're going to dive into today, is I'm going to read a few of your testimonials that we've asked you guys to just take a couple minutes to fill out. And some of these are amazing, so I can only read a few of them because they're pretty lengthy. But I asked you guys when we hit this about like a month and a half ago, just to take time to be able to fill it out, because what I want to be able to know most importantly is how this podcast is positively impacting your life, and what advice or tips have you taken from this podcast, implemented into your daily life, and any like additional comments that you guys had to say about it. And I'm going to read, the submissions that we've had come through right here on this podcast and just celebrate it and share it with y'all, because it's the whole reason why I do this podcast is for you guys. Like, I want to provide value in so many ways outside of what we offer inside of WarriorBabe, and I feel like this is like the perfect platform to do it. I get to just sit down in the best way that I love to do content, just talk and rant. And like, that is my favorite thing to do, and just share insights and education and knowledge and truth bombs and tough love and any which way that's going to help you guys on your fitness journey. This is the reason why I do the podcast, and it's for you. And to be able to read how this podcast has helped you guys in these submissions that I have has been so freaking cool. Like, it's just full circle. Like, it's like a feedback loop closed, right? It's like, I do these podcasts, but sometimes I just talk, I don't know. So many of you guys, 500,000 downloads. It's so many downloads. It's so many of you guys listening to these. And it's really nice in return to be able to see how it's positively impacting you guys. I read every single review. So if you haven't left a review yet, please go do that. I read every single one that comes through. But now just being able, like, you guys had endless opportunity to write in these forms that we put out for you guys to fill out for the celebration of this for this episode, and it's just so cool to see. So I want to spend a couple time. I'm going to read through like 5 or 6 of them and just spend time celebrating the impact that this podcast has had on your guys' lives, and just hope that just hope that it resonates with anybody listening, and to know that if you are a listener of the podcast, that you also can have these types of results or feelings or impact in your life too as well. And maybe you already have and you just didn't get a chance to fill out this form. But anyway, I just hope that no matter what, this podcast still provides value in some sense, even though it's a big celebration for the podcast. I will lead it off by saying, and I shared her in an episode, I think like a month ago, when I was with Maverick, my Doberman, my pup, at the vet. And I had this woman come up to me, and I had no idea. I thought she was coming to me to talk about Maverick, but she was coming to me to say, "You've changed my life." And she's been following me for years. She listens to the podcast, and she had an incremental weight loss, and she feels so much better about herself. And she even joked around that her name was Karen. And I can't make comments about Karens anymore because Karens actually do shit and accomplish the goals. And it was so cool to just be able to meet her face to face. So again, like I love truly from the bottom of my heart being able to see the positive impact this is making to you guys. So one of the submissions was, and a few of these are cool because it's like they listened to the podcast and then it turned into becoming a WarriorBabe. So first submission I'm going to read is, I'm going to first talk about the how the listener has implemented the advice or tips from this podcast into her daily life. And specifically, that was a question, and if she could describe and elaborate. And so shout out to Beth. She says everything. That was her first, like, it's in paragraphs, so that was her first comment. And she said, for starters, I no longer have the all or nothing mentality. So I know I specifically did a podcast on this. So if anybody has that mentality, there's a podcast out there that can totally support you in that sense. She goes, I realized that just because you missed a workout one day doesn't mean that you have to throw in your macros too, or throw out your macros too, or vice versa. If you overeat one day, doesn't mean that the next day I have to kill myself double time in the gym. Every day there's an opportunity to learn from choices that I've made and try to be 1% better the next day. That's always a way. There's always a way if something comes up. I've learned to pivot and keep moving forward. That's huge, because I know a lot of you guys probably resonate with like, oh man, I messed up today on my macros. I'll start on Monday. Or damn, I didn't get in my workout today. So throwing in all my macros too as well. And I'll just pick it up on Monday. How many of you guys say I'm going to start on Monday, right? That's an all or nothing mentality. It doesn't have to be like that. And Beth just shared that too. She's like, I'm in control. She goes, huge one. My excuses are my choice. I love that quote that says, if it's not important, you'll find an excuse. If it is important, you'll find a way. And it's so true. Yes. Taking ownership of my life. It's so empowering. It puts the ball back in my court, this journey and my life, and I am in control of it. I might not make the best choice every single day, but at the end of the day, I have to take accountability for those choices and learn from them. That is beautiful, Beth. That is so freaking beautiful. When you take extreme ownership for your life, which is a value that we have inside the WarriorBabe company, all our lives are all our making. There's no one else ever to blame. When you can take extreme ownership and responsibility for where you are and why you're there and maybe why you're feeling uncomfortable in your skin, it's no one else's fault but yours. And it's so empowering when you take that control and you take that responsibility, because you, like she says, the ball's in her court. She can do something about it. And she's also learned, as she states here, and I'm going to try and like feed it, but I don't want this. I could go on and on and on when I read this stuff, and I want to get through a couple more submissions. She's learned that the scale is only one data point. The scale doesn't know what I ate the day before, how hard my workout was. Am I on my period? Did I drink enough water? Was I traveling? Love that. She started to weighing herself daily a year ago, and I actually think it's quite fascinating how much our bodies can fluctuate in a day based on these different things. Yes. Most importantly, my worth isn't based on what the number says. Amen. A couple of things there. Totally. Like that scale is just a number, and it's like you versus gravity. That number is not defining your entire story, and you are so much more than what that number says. Second thing is when you are just weighing yourself once a week on a weekly basis, you could be weighing in on a day that you actually may be up in comparison to what the average could look like over 7 days. I've talked about that inside of a podcast before. So sometimes if you can develop a better relationship with the scale and understand that it is solely just a number, it's just a tool, and you're so much more than it, it can actually be a really fascinating data point for you. When you measure 7 days out of the week and you can average those 7 points and see that over the weeks that you do this, that your average is dropping. So it's something, just insight, and definitely I would look for that podcast for sure and go listen to it if that is resonating with you too as well. She also said, I learned to move my body outside the gym. I used to hit the gym hard and then came home and sit on the couch. Now I'm finding ways to move more. Parking far away from the grocery store entrance, mowing the lawn, taking stairs instead of the elevator. My husband and I kind of compete with who has more steps throughout the day. Finding joy in fitness. Oh my God, this just makes my heart so freaking happy. Oh, and being nice to yourself. That's what she says. The things we tell ourselves can make or break us. So be kind and loving because there's only one of us. This is just beautiful, like so beautiful. And she says at the end, which Beth, I thank you. She's like, I want to thank Nikki for creating the program that has completely changed my life. This podcast has offered so much wisdom and positive affirmations, not only myself, but so many women around me. We live in a world where there's so much information out there. It's telling you to do this to get fit, do that to get fit, eat this, don't eat that. And it's so confusing and overwhelming. This podcast is no BS, straightforward, roadmap to long-term health and fitness. I love this. It's not a quick fix program. This teaches and empowers women to make healthy habits that will give us long-term success with our health. That's so freaking beautiful. I think what I'm going to do, too, by the way, is read and implement the advice or tips people have had and then go into the next topic and go into the other topic. So another topic is like discussing the favorite episode. So I would recommend that you guys like stick around so you can jot down some of the top episodes a lot of people love to listen to so that you can go back and listen to those episodes. And then I'll dive into just some tips on how it's kind of in comparison to how the advice and tips and then how it's positively impacted her life too. And hers is very similar in how it's positively impacted your life to what I just read. But Beth, man, shout out to you. Thank you so much for taking the time to filling this out. I freaking love reading it. And I'm sure that there's so many people that can resonate with that and what you had to say. Ladies, are you feeling frustrated with body changes you're experiencing during menopause? It's time to take control. If you're between 45 and 65 years old and tired of struggling with body fat and muscle loss, WarriorBabe is here for you. At WarriorBabe, we've helped over 18,000 women just like you lose body fat, build toned muscle, and understand their bodies better with personalized plans based on hormone and thyroid testing and more. Imagine knowing exactly what your body needs to see real results and results that last. Look, don't wait anymore. Take charge of your health and join our community of strong, empowered women. Visit WarriorBabe.com/apply today to start your transformation. That's WarriorBabe.com/apply. All right, let's get back to the show. So the next one in terms of that specific topic is Leisha. She's one of our ambassadors actually in the WarriorBabe program too as well. And she said in terms of advice and tips that she's implemented into her life, specifically from the podcast, is that she chose to wake up as early as 3 a.m. to get her day started. With weight loss surgery, it can be challenging to eat so much food, but I am managing. Starting early affords me more time to space out my food, ensuring consumption of all macros. It can be done with a smaller stomach, and I think that serves a purpose. Her saying that right here, which is totally in alignment with the episode that has dropped like a week ago when Jenna talked about her entire experience post-gastric sleeve surgery. I think that's an amazing like parallel to what Leisha just said and to what Jenna talked about in that podcast, that it totally can be done, you guys. It's just about, taking control of the situation, taking ownership of the situation, taking responsibility of trying to figure it out to make it work for you. It can work for anybody. It's just about your unique circumstance and making it work for you. Next one, how she's implemented, this was Jessica, how she's implemented any advice or tips from the podcast into her life. This is also one of our ambassadors. She said that she's helped me to stop talking poorly to myself and do the hard stuff, even when you don't feel like it. To take a rest day if you really need it, you're human. Yes. The things and the narratives that we say, you guys, in our brains go a long way to you being successful or not being successful. If you believe you can, you will. If you believe you can't, you won't. So being able to give yourself grace in areas that you know that you're fumbling in and accept that honor that you're accepting that you want to change, and then just give yourself grace along the way and be kind to yourself. It's so important. That's going to be a huge reason why you have a successful journey. Next one, this one was Ashley. She said the little tidbits of information that she takes away from each podcast shapes my fitness journey. It's a consistent reminder of why I love WarriorBabe. Jody said everything. I eat healthier, work out smarter, and have literally changed every aspect of my life. And then another one, Brooke says, for the tips and advice from the podcast and how she's implemented it into her daily life, she said consistency. It's all about consistency with my big three. Every day, I make sure I get my lift in at 5:30 a.m. to calm my body and mind and help me set my intention for the day. Each night, every meal is logged for the next day. My macros are dialed in, and my food is prepped and packed for grab and go convenience. Yes. My sleep gets better weekly. My ADHD has a lot to do with my inability to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep, but I know how important it is. So I strive to reach overall consistency. A little self-care in the evenings to help relax my body and mind is what helps me get closer to my goal of big three consistency. I freaking love that. Let's go. And this one's a WarriorBabe too. Absolutely grateful. She said, the first episode of the Macro Hour dropped a few days after I joined and became a WarriorBabe. I truly felt that it was a sign, a positive indication that I had made the right decision. I make it a point to listen to every episode of the Macro Hour, especially when I'm lifting. Brooke, I appreciate you so freaking much. That is awesome. So I'm going to move into all of these, you guys. Like, that was just a little tips and advice. How it's positively impacted their lives, I'm going to save until the end. Those are more like tactical things that they've taken away. The first one that I read, which was Beth, was definitely a little bit of mix of the mindset and the tactical. But now I'm going to go into talking about their favorite episodes. So if you're new, or if this is like maybe the first couple of the episodes that you listen to, or maybe you listened to the podcast for like 2 months now, and you're unsure of like which ones that you should go back to, a lot of these are actually some of the first 100 episodes that I've released. So that would be really cool to like just write down in a notebook and or like mentally note some episodes that you can go back to and listen to. So I start back with Beth. She goes, in terms of the episodes, there's so many. I really loved the episode 58, Confident as Fuck. She just breaks it down how to build confidence. I personally had a history of not feeling worthy or confident in myself. I missed out on a lot of cool opportunities because I didn't have confidence in myself. WarriorBabe has pushed me out of my comfort zone to realize that I can do hard shit. That you are who you hang out with. So quit hanging out with people that bring you down and don't have the same values and that align with yours. Wow, this is so powerful, Beth. Your whole submission is so powerful. Start doing things that feed your soul and keep doing it. The more you show up for yourself, the more confident you become. Over the last 2 years, I've seen a shift in my mindset and now how others see it too. That's amazing. So she said 58. Next one is she also really loved episode 54 about forgetting goals and focusing on systems. Yes, I know that was also like one of the very first episodes I've recorded too as well. I've recorded it twice. She feels like people don't talk enough about the daily habits that you have to build and continue to do. They aren't sexy, but it's what you have to do to get lasting results. And she continued on to say some things. When she first started WarriorBabe at a goal of losing 20 pounds, and I was so discouraged when the scale wouldn't move, or even worse, it would go up. I found myself in a crazy cycle of self-doubt, frustration, and unbelief. It wasn't until I decided to focus on my systems that I was able to look at my journey differently. This isn't just about the scale changing. This is about creating habits that will serve my body for a lifetime. Hitting steps, macros, sleep, workouts, water, finding ways to de-stress, learning to talk nicely to myself. Doing these things every day eventually led to that 25-pound loss, but it will also build trust in myself and gave me the confidence that I can do this. Oh my God, this is truly amazing. Like, I hope, Beth, that me reading this out loud is truly inspiring others. First of all, I know it's giving so much value, but it's truly inspiring others that like, we have heard it so many times inside of me talking to women or inside of our coaches talking to their babes, that people are frustrated when the scale goes up or it doesn't even move. But they're so focused on one aspect when there's so many more, like your systems. Like, people are just so focused on their goal. Like Beth at the beginning, as she stated, was focused on losing 20 pounds, but she wasn't focused on her system. She was just focused on seeing the number go, like, move. But there were so many other things that contribute to that goal that she had to nail down, which was hitting steps, workouts, macros, sleep, water, ways to de-stress, talking nicely to herself. It wasn't until she found out she did that she eventually lost 25 pounds. That's incredible. Okay, so she mentioned episode 58 and episode 54. Leisha says episode 163, and I'm probably totally butchering Leisha. I'm saying that probably wrong. I apologize. But she said episode 163, there is no accomplishment of goals with me making the decision to lose weight, applying the strategies and protocols, and being honest with herself. Jessica says, oh, wow, I've listened to way too many. It's hard to pick them. Damn near all of them. Nikki, so transparent, all our podcast. I love it. Sounds like she's talking directly to you. Same Ashley said she loves all of the episodes that explain the intricacies keys of cutting, building, and maintenance. Jody said she loves all the episodes too. Can't pick one. I've gotten something out of all of them. I even share their knowledge now with people. That's amazing. And then, okay, Brooke says her favorite episode is number 92. So far we have 92, 163, episode 58, and episode 54. 92 was the guest podcast that I had with Sal from Mind Pump. Guys, if you didn't listen to that episode, that would definitely be one that I would totally send you back to. That was an amazing conversation that I had, which is like an unfiltered concept to fitness. And that's what the episode name is called, A Deep Dive with Sal DeStefano of Mind Pump. You guys know Mind Pump, right? Like, it was so incredible. And I felt so honored to have Sal on the episode, on the podcast. And she goes, my comment that I posted to that episode says it all. I couldn't agree more with Sal stating that strength training makes your skin look younger. Yeah, I totally remember talking to him about that. I totally feel like I'm aging backwards as I'm 3 months from turning the big 50. Proud to be a WarriorBabe 9 months into my amazing journey. Let's go. Now she's 18 months in as a WarriorBabe, but the Macro Hour, Mind Pump are my weekly YouTube podcasts and are on when I'm lifting. Nikki Mind Pump messaging is the same. Yes, it is, which boosts my confidence that I'm on the right track in my self-growth, nutrition, and strength. Yes, let's freaking go, Brooke. Man, I freaking love reading these. It's giving me so much energy. I feel like I can go run a marathon after this. I'm not saying that I would, but I feel like I can. Okay, so those are some of the top episodes. Hey, just want to drop a huge appreciation to you guys listening to the show. It means a lot. I hope you guys are enjoying it, and there's so much more to come with it. If you are enjoying it, hit the subscribe button. I'd appreciate that tons. And also, it would help this podcast reach others who need to hear these messages too. Thanks so much, guys. Let's get back to the show. Let's dive into, as we wrap up the podcast, I just want to share some of the positive impacts that they've had on their lives. Brooke, I read through Brooke's a lot, which was like the intricacies of the tactical side that she's implemented, where she took ownership. That's pretty much what she goes into again with how it positively impacted her life. Let's go to Leisha. Growing up as a teenager, I faced significant challenges, particularly with my father's absence after his release from prison. Wow. His lack of involvement in my life made me question my worth and feel neglected, especially when he spent more time with other children. To cope with these feelings, I turned to food for comfort, often eating out with others. This habit led to weight gain, and I felt out of control. Despite wanting to lose weight and avoid being labeled as obese, I lacked a support system to guide me towards a healthier lifestyle. In desperation, I turned to diet pills, which only caused harmful side effects like fatigue, jitters, and even vertigo. I always envied those with fit, healthy bodies and wished for the same for myself. However, without proper guidance and support, I struggled to achieve my fitness goals. Listening to particular podcasts became a turning point for me. The podcast emphasized that the key to fitness and health lies within oneself, highlighting the importance of personal determination and decision-making. It inspired me to take control of my health journey, find a workable plan, and commit to it with determination to transform my life. Oh my gosh. This is going to these are going to make me tear up in some way or another. Like that right there is exactly why I do this. Like, not knowing so many of your guys' backstories, but knowing that this podcast is positively impacting you in a way that helps you from anything that you struggle with growing up, or you have narratives in your brain that you had and you realize like, no, this is now, like, and then to be able to turn it around and take control and do something for yourself, all because it was inspired by a podcast, like, that means the world to me. So let's go, baby. Let's go, Alicia. That's amazing. And thank you so much for sharing that. Like, one, it's very vulnerable to just drop that and put it inside of a form and know that I'm going to see this. And I haven't even ever like truly met you before, which is just, I appreciate that so much. I love that vulnerability and transparency is something that I strive for. So thank you. Jessica wrote, oh my God, where do I begin? From a WarriorBabe perspective, the Macro Hour has been an amazing tool. Even though Nikki and the coaches have wonderful topics to share, the Macro Hour takes those topics to another level. There are moments where I might be second guessing myself or something, and I can immediately go to the podcast and find where Nikki has dove into a deeper subject that either answers my question or helps me out of my funk. Let's face it, change can be scary and cause self-doubt. Nikki has a way about her that can help lift you up. Knowledge is power, and the Macro Hour helps to give you that power. Love you, Jess. That's awesome. Appreciate that. And appreciate the impact that it's had on your life and you sharing that. That's awesome. Ashley says too, and similar to Jess, that it's another amazing vehicle that WarriorBabe has created to positively impact women in all stages of their fitness journey. She loves the science aspect that I bring to this and how I really show why our bodies do what they do and how to have continued success in their goals. She's been a WarriorBabe, wow, for 4 years, and I'm still learning every day. That's incredible. That's what, honestly, like, I'm still learning. I'm 9 years in. I'm still learning. Like, and that, to have that type of open mindset, one, and two, the coachability aspect is how, I mean, those of you, Ashley, I can just say this, like, looks amazing. I know she's on our WarriorBabe Instagram and one of the before and afters, but her transformation was huge, and it's been so cool to watch her transform over the years. But just that right there, she's still learning every day, is incredible. It's totally it doesn't end. You're always continuing to learn. That's what gets you better and gets you more results too. All right, Jody says, after listening for a few weeks, I made the decision to get more information on WarriorBabe. She ended up joining. She's 3 to 4 months in, down over 10 pounds and crazy inches, but more than that, have never felt better mentally and physically. My inflammation is gone. I'm off anxiety meds, and I've learned to eat and train smarter and better. I have even started looking into getting a certification in nutrition because I'm so intrigued and want to learn it all. I freaking love that. That's totally parallel to what Ashley said too as well, and how you guys are just forever learners. And that's totally what will happen when you start seeing the incredible changes that you're making for yourself. It's like, oh my God, I want to learn more. I want to do more. So let's go. And then the last one that I want to read is Brooke, where she mentioned her like big 3. And her big 3, to clarify, is macro, sleep, and lifting. So the first episode of the Macro Hour dropped, as I said and already shared. I'm not going to reiterate that, but I was rereading it. She joined a WarriorBabe, and she felt like that was a sign. Nikki's insight, wit, and no nonsense. Tell it like it is personality is just what I need to keep motivated. I refer back to many of the episodes, from my curiosity about creatine to her consistent messaging about the big importance of macro, sleep, and lifting. I love it that she turned it into her big 3. And becoming a stronger person inside and out. It's not cardio that helps straighten out hormones and getting the physique of your dreams. It's the big 3. I love that. Her coach inside of WarriorBabe, Brittany, often refers me back to certain episodes when I have questions about my journey. Nikki's knowledge base is deeply rooted in education, but most importantly to me, experience. She's lived the highs and the lows that us babes are all going through. Amen, you guys. For those of you guys that didn't listen to episode number 1, a lot of my journey before getting into helping women was my own experiments on myself. And then turning it to working very closely with hundreds of women and hearing, using them as experience to understand what was going on. And then it just evolved into so much more. And here we are. WarriorBabe has helped over 18,000 women. The Macro Hour has now, as we're celebrating in this episode today, hit the 500,000 download mark, on our way to 1 million. And I just can't say thank you enough to you guys. it literally means the absolute world to me to be able to show up here on this podcast and help you guys in so many ways, of giving you value, insight, education, like giving you the tough love where it's needed. And you guys, most importantly, like I read on one of these submissions, is they've just done the thing. Like they've just went in and did the work and they just do it. So I can't stress that enough from reading this with you guys. And thank you for all the submissions that came through. I didn't get to read all of them, but these were some of my favorites that I just wanted to highlight. Know that with every episode, I just hope that you guys take something from it and then you go and do something with it and you go and take action, because there's only so much that, your brain can hold and like you know that you need to do the things, and that you just learned something that's going to help you maybe unlock the next thing that you need to go and accomplish for yourself. And but there's a difference between knowing and doing. The doing is what's going to get you the results that you want. The doing is what's going to help you learn. The doing is what's going to help you gain understanding. The doing is what's going to help you gain perspective. And then you can adjust as needed with the doing, right? So all in all, to say that, guys, man, like, thank you so much for being just avid listeners of this podcast and promoting this podcast and sharing this podcast with others. 500,000 downloads is huge, I think, in a year and a half of being since birth. And that to me just means the world to me. You guys mean the world to me. I appreciate you guys so much. I love you guys so much. Here's to 1 million. Let's get to 1 million. All right, you guys, thank you all so much, and I'll see you in the next episode. Hey guys, real quick. If you're interested in taking your body to the next level, lose body fat, build more muscle, feel more confident, do it alongside one of our 30+ professional coaches. Work one-on-one with her to eliminate all of the guesswork that you may have, and all you need to do is just do the work that she tells you to do to get to those goals of yours. Now, to learn more, click the link below this podcast and apply to our VIP program right now.